Quick rundown of what you have missed. 5 points apiece for Armstrong and Kukoc. Anderson, native of Chicago, with 5 points. And as I mentioned, Jordan only 1 of 5 from the field. A 6-0 run by the Bulls after Orlando had the early lead by the count of 9-4. Shot clock at 7. And O'Neal is fouled. And Coach Jackson telling us this is something we can look for right throughout the series, not allowing Shaquille to get the shot off.
But Phil Jackson saying they want to commit judicious fouls, and this is one of them. When Shaq gets the ball that deep in the paint, there's nothing you can do but wrap him up. They just don't want to foul Shaq on any kind of shot. If it's a jump hook, 4 or 5 feet away, they'll just challenge that. The turnaround jumper, obviously they want to challenge that. But anything that looks like he's going to dunk the ball or lay it in, they want to send him to the free throw line.
Well, Shaquille is 3 of 3 at the line. And this the reason they like to send him to the free throw line. 53% this past regular season. Comes off a 7 of 13 in the game against Boston on Friday night.
Already a little bit of foul problems for the Chicago Bulls. Tony Kukoc has gone to the bench with 2 personal, and now Luke Longley has to sit with 2.
So Will Perdue is on the floor, replacing Luke Longley, and Corey Blunt has checked in for Tony Kukoc. 5.5 remaining in this first quarter. Illegal defense called for the second time against Brian Hill's Orlando Magic, which means a technical foul awarded the Chicago Bulls.
Donald Royal was coming over anticipating a post feed to Michael Jordan and had to get caught in no man's land on a little bit of a pump fake and then tried to just keep going out to the corner to double team the ball. But the Orlando Magic very alert to come and double team Michael Jordan when he is inside. I doubt if they will trap him or double him on the wing or at the top at this particular point in the game. Michael so far has struggled from the field.
Armstrong with 6 points. And the game is tied at 13. Perdue. Blunt with a wild shot. And on the back tap, the Bulls able to maintain possession. Chicago coming off the first round victory over the Charlotte Hornets. 3-1, finishing off Charlotte on Thursday night. Jordan tried to return it to Perdue, but it was picked off.
And deflected nicely by Penny Hardaway.
Jordan only 8 for 21 in that finale against Charlotte. Hit his first 3, but then 5 for the last 18. That's an offensive foul on Royal.
Donald Royal, known as a slasher and a driver. Most teams will give him that jump shot. It's one of the reasons why he is not getting very many minutes in the playoffs, only averaging about 18, 19 minutes a game, because he is not a perimeter threat. And now here comes the perimeter threat for the Orlando Magic. Dennis Scott, who is always a threat from beyond the three-point line, and he really spreads the defense of the opponent.
In fact, the Magic going with Dennis Scott in the starting lineup at the start of the second half for Game 4 against the Celtics, rather than the usual starter, Donald Royal. Scottie Pippen against the one-time Bull, Horace Grant. Here's Pippen, rather Perdue, stopped by O'Neal. Shaquille with the block. Anderson, played by Jordan. Nick Anderson, a native of Chicago. Oh, the spin is going, and it was rejected, but it's a goal pair. The basket will count.
Will Perdue doesn't like it, but a very strong, definite move by Nick Anderson against one of the best defensive players on the planet. Spins away from Michael Jordan. Will Perdue coming over to help out. The slot official over on the other side of the floor correctly ruled that Will touched that after it touched the backboard.
Orlando leads by 2. The Bulls have missed their last 4 shots. Pippen. The Bulls are 5 for 15 from the field. They get another opportunity here. The pass broken up by Hardaway, but Pippen on the recovery. Hardaway knocks it aside. Blunt able to pick it up. Feeding Jordan. Went to the left hand and drew the foul. Michael Jordan will go to the line. The foul committed by Dennis Scott.
Foul number 32.
Chicago Bulls continue to get second shot opportunities. Just keep moving the ball till they finally get it to Michael with no player his size guarding. And Michael had that little opening a little earlier in the ball game. He took one strong with the left hand as he got by Shaquille O'Neal. Couldn't get it down. This time he made sure he drew the contact first before he released that shot.
Michael Jordan clearly making the point that his teammates must elevate their game. In Game 4 against Charlotte on Thursday night, Michael actually took himself out of the game. He felt there was too much pressure on him. Grant saw the opening, and a foul is called. Horace Grant accelerating. He saw the clear path.
44, Corey Blount.
Foul is called on Corey Blount. We're joined on the sidelines once again today by Jim Gray. Let's go to Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Marv. One of the reasons that Michael Jordan isn't shooting very well, he is bothered very badly by his right hand. He bruised it in the Charlotte series, and he's in quite a bit of pain, he told us before the game. He's kept this quiet, but it was badly bruised in the game that he had 48 points. He cannot dribble very well with his right hand. He cannot pick up the dribble and palm the ball. It's limiting him today, and it's going to cause him to go to his left quite a bit, he told us before the game, so he's not 100% or anywhere near it. Marv?
All right, Jim, and I would think there would be a fear of people slapping at the hand. I would think you'd want to protect it.
Anytime you have any kind of jammed fingers, jammed wrist, or a problem with your hand, no matter what you do with it, even if you sometimes just touch your head, it kind of rings pain right through your body.
Find yourself when you have a jammed finger touching your head a lot, man?
Yes, go right to the head.
Traveling violation is called. Will Perdue called for steps. 3.5 remaining in this opening quarter, and it's the Magic 16 and the Bulls 15. In the opening round of the playoff, Orlando did not have an easy time against the Boston Celtics, winning that series 3-1 as they escaped after losing at home to the Celtics last Sunday. Here is O'Neal getting inside. Basket won't count. A foul is called.
The foul number 32,
Will Perdue.
His first
Well, good ball movement from one side to the other, which enables Shaq to come across the lane, stop dead in the paint with the defender Will Perdue on him. And the man at the top who should be coming down to double team in that situation is Scottie Pippen. But right now he is watching Dennis Scott, and he's just not going to leave Dennis Scott from that three-point line. So that double team is going to have to come from another part of the floor.
That's Shaquille O'Neal on fire at the free throw line here today. 5 for 5 from the line.
Well, he got off to a terrific start in Game 1 in the Boston series. Shot 11 for 14, but then went downhill after that.
Shaquille has hit 12 out of 12 on 2 occasions in his career that last season, but he's 6 for his first 6 here today. Armstrong working off the pick. Goes for the jumper. So B.J. Armstrong breaking out of it. He's been very quiet, and it's the Magic leading by 1.
Even though Michael Jordan didn't touch the ball in that sequence, he was in the post on the triangle offense, and when he's in there, that will create problems for the defense.
Pass thrown by Hardaway, but a traveling violation is called. Anthony Hardaway able to whip it inside to Shaquille. Timeout is taken. You're watching the NBA on NBC. Well, earlier today here on NBC, one of the wildest endings in NBA playoff history. The Pacers coming from behind to beat the Knicks in Game 1 of their best of 7, 107-105. Reggie Miller with the Pacers' final 8 points in the last 18 seconds. Actually, 8 points in 11 seconds. And how about Houston, the defending NBA champions, beating Utah in Utah once again. A second win in Utah, and they'll go on to face the Phoenix Suns in the next round. Michael Jordan is now 1 of 6 from the field. Houston and Phoenix opening up in Phoenix on Tuesday. Houston with a 20-9 run. They come from behind to conclude matters. Hakeem Olajuwon led the way with 33 points. Hardaway with the spin. And rebounded by Pippen. Tree Rollins has checked in, replacing Shaquille O'Neal, who leads with 6 points, all from the foul line.
Less than 2 minutes.
Less than 2 minutes to go in this first quarter. Jordan, Michael Jordan hitting on his first jump shot, and it's the Bulls 19, the Magic 18.
A little better rhythm that time in the half-court offense of Chicago. It has not looked good so far in this first quarter, but even though Michael Jordan hesitated on that shot, he was so open because the ball moved so quickly.
Phil Jackson also inserting Bill Wennington and Judd Bushler, so a lot of shuffling in this opening quarter. And a hand check called on Bushler.
Michael Jordan has been struggling with the jump shot so far in this ball game, but popping out and getting the quick feed from Boucher. A little hesitation, and he is trying any way he can to get that ball to drain, as nothing has felt good leaving his hand. So maybe that hand is bothering him, although he has not shot the ball particularly well since his comeback, at least during the regular season. It improved during the Charlotte series, just under 50%.
Dennis Scott at the line for the first time. Orlando 20 and Chicago 19. It's game number 1 of this best of 7 Eastern Conference semifinal series. Game 2 here in Orlando on Wednesday. Games 3 and 4 in Chicago Friday night, and then game 4 next Sunday at the United Center. We'll be there to bring it to you right here on NBC, 1 o'clock Eastern time. Showtime at 12:30 in the East.
This is the kind of tempo that Chicago wanted to play coming in here to the Orlando arena. Take their running opportunities when they're there. Other than that, run their offense, keep the score down. They do not want to let the Orlando Magic get out into an up-and-down game. They really respect the transition game of the Magic.
Holding foul called on Dennis Scott for the Magic, their 4th team foul. Chicago already over the limit. Rollins jumping out on Jordan. Wennington trying to get the step. Lost it. And Grant retrieves.
Well, that's why he's one of the best, if not the best, defensive power forward in basketball. He made the quick rotation to hand. Horace Grant almost never makes a fundamental error defensively. He'll get beat from time to time, but he's always aware of the right play that has to be made.
Here's Scott. And the box out by Wennington. So Phil Jackson has got to all 3 of his centers here in the first quarter, starting with Longley, moving on to Purdue, and then Wennington. Pippen with the save.
There's that communication between Scotty and Michael, knowing each other so well that most players might both go for that loose ball, but just little verbal communication or just knowing each other so well they get the save and the extra possession.
Jordan milking the clock. Shot clock down to 6. Michael Jordan unable to hit. And back come the Magic. Final seconds of the quarter. Anderson for Scott. Off the fake. 3 seconds to go in the quarter. Oh, Jordan slicing through, and then he's rejected by Scott. First of all, I don't know how Michael Jordan was able to work his way through in center court, and then Dennis Scott came up with the block to end this first quarter.
Well, Michael going early enabled the Magic to get out on this fast break at the end of the quarter. Tough shot by Dennis Scott in traffic. And then Michael Jordan, and Marv, he doesn't know how he got through there. Only his athletic ability and his sense of where other bodies are enabled him to snake through.
So after 1 here at the arena, as you see Dennis Scott reject Michael Jordan, it's the Magic by 3.
You're watching the NBA on NBC.
In the first quarter, Michael Jordan 2 of 10 from the field, 6 points. Shaquille O'Neal took only 1 field goal attempt, hit 6 of 6 from the line. This is a series that has certainly been billed as Michael versus Shaq. In fact, the NBC promotion department, along with NBC Sports, right out there, I'd have to say, in that regard. We talked about that with Shaquille.
Michael is the world's most premier player, and I'm just a young, upcoming player. And, you know, people do that to get ratings. And I understand. But those who know basketball know that I won't be sticking Michael, and Michael won't be sticking me. And it's a team game, and we're just going to go out there, and we're going to try to beat that team.
Shaquille then, Matt, analyzed the demographics of the ratings following that conversation. Second quarter underway. That Judd Bushler and tipped home by Jordan, but will not count. Offensive interference, the call.
And Michael complains mildly. He's looking to keep getting on the scoreboard, and he can get a kind of a awkward shot by Bushler, and Michael did touch it right on the rim. Any part of the ball at the top of the rim there, as that was, that is an illegal tip.
Ryan Shaw just checked in way off the mark. He was expecting contact. Second quarter is underway, and the Magic up by 3. Pete Myers on the floor for the first time. Tony Kukoc has returned. Here's Kukoc, fouled by Grant. So Kukoc to the line.
Tony Kukoc is the absolute wild card in this series for the Chicago Bulls. When he plays well, the Chicago Bulls have an excellent chance of winning. He got off to a good start in this ballgame, scoring 5 points before he picked up his second foul. And this is the advantage that he has against other big forwards and a good defensive forward like Horace Grant. But Tony Kukoc can face the basket, got a quick first step, a good handle, and can get to the basket and draw fouls, which is exactly what he did there. Scottie Pippen's on the bench right now getting a rest. He was just 0 for 1 in the first quarter.
And Kukoc coming off a strong game against Charlotte on Thursday night. 7 of 14, 21 points, career high, 11 rebounds. O'Neal lost it. Last touch, though, by Chicago. In the first quarter, neither club shot well. Orlando 6 of 14, Chicago 7 of 22. And it has to be alarming that Michael Jordan took 10 of those 22 shots. That is not what he's trying to do. Jordan was 2 of 10 from the field. His 24 is given the Orlando Magic. A minute gone by in the second. Orlando with a 1-point lead. That's a by Wennington that fell. He challenged the passing lane, and it ends up as an easy 2.
And from time to time, Bill Wennington will be able to make that defensive play, but Shaq with the big, wide body kept Bill Wennington on the top side. It turned out to be a very poor gamble. Nobody could even get down there and foul Shaq, who was 6 for 6 from the line.
Kukoc with the crossover. Nice setup. Bill Wennington finished it off. That's his first field goal. And the Magic up 24-23.
Well, Kukoc eyeballed Shaquille O'Neal there and took it to him and threw the defense to get that opening for Wennington.
O'Neal able to power his way. Good start for Shaquille O'Neal. He has 10 points, and Orlando is up by 3. Now Jordan being guarded by Shaw. Pete Myers given the shot. Rebound Wennington, and he is fouled.
The foul number 32, Shaquille O'Neal.
Foul on Shaquille O'Neal, his second.
Here's Shaq holding Wennington on his back, and then Wennington at just the wrong time for him, tried to get on the top side, and that enabled the easy pass into Shaq. And then in slow transition, Shaq got down there, got position early. Nobody could come and help.
Timeout taken by Orlando. We'll be right back.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Wendy's, where better food makes it a better value. By Chevrolet, the cars and trucks 36 million people depend on every day. Genuine Chevrolet. And by All Sports Body Quencher. After this sports drink, the game will never be the same.
Welcome back to Orlando, Florida on a beautiful 85-degree day. With 2 minutes gone by in the second quarter, the Magic up 26-23. Shaquille O'Neal picked up his second foul as we were going to the break, and he was very upset about the call. Steve Kerr has come on for the first time. Steve Kerr, a one-time member of the Magic. And here is Wennington. Rebounded by O'Neal. Michael Jordan now getting a rest. Scottie Pippen is back.
And Scottie needs this opportunity with Michael on the bench to start to assert himself, not necessarily by scoring points, but getting involved in the flow of the offense.
Scott eluding Kukoc. O'Neal trying to save it, and he didn't. Able to deflect it off a Chicago player.
Well, the Bulls have gotten the best of the rebounding so far in this ballgame, 14-9. Here's Pippen and Grant battling hard. Shaq able to hang in the air long enough to bang it off Bill Wennington, but Brian Hill is very much concerned with the rebounding of the Orlando Magic. He had 2 of the best rebounders in the league, and Shaq and Horace Grant, yet at times they seem to get hammered on the offensive board of their opponents.
And Kukoc starting back for the Bulls. Led by Grant. Pippen on a double team had it knocked away momentarily by Grant. Excellent defensive sequence by the Magic. Here's O'Neal jumping out on Kerr. Pippen had to force it. And it's a 24-second violation.
Well, this is what Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen are talking about when they get upset with their teammates, that either of those players will break off the offense by holding the ball or maybe dribbling it too much, or giving it to Jordan and Pippen at the end of the shot clock when they have to take that kind of shot.
3-point Orlando lead. We're early in the second. Dennis Scott has not been able to find the touch. Good play by Weddington in the box out with O'Neal. Steve Kerr. Pete Myers. Myers fouled by Shaw.
The foul number 20, Brian Shaw.
Brian Shaw called for his first.
Another one of those slow transition plays for Chicago, which they will exploit when it's there. They do not want to get in an up and down running game with the Orlando Magic. But the reason that opening came for Pete Myers was Steve Kerr, a threat at the three-point line, got the ball on the left side of the floor out high. Didn't hold the ball too long. 1-2 quick dribbles, got it to the other side, and the defense couldn't react quickly enough, and that enabled Pete Myers to drive to the goal.
Replacing Horace.
Out of Royal for Horace Grant. A one-time ball. Only 1 point, 3 rebounds. During the regular season, Orlando won 3 of 4 against Chicago. The Chicago win taking place at the United Center. 109-77 in a wipeout back on January the 10th. And that was the first game back in Chicago for Horace Grant, but a disaster for the Magic. Scottie Pippen with a triple-double. Horace felt that his teammates were trying too hard to win the game for him. The hand check call on Myers.
I remember that game was a very emotional one for Horace Grant and the Orlando Magic, but I also remember the fact that the Bulls came out and made every shot in the first quarter. B.J. Armstrong, 22 points in the first half. You mentioned the triple-double by Pippen, and when the other team is making that many shots, and they did a good defensive job on Shaq as far as double teams, there was no contest.
And the foul again on Myers.
His second team foul.
Here a little physical contact as Penny Hardaway trying to hold his position, and just a little grab of the shirt, but the officials have been pretty consistent with that, at least in the beginning of ball games so far in the playoffs, as far as calling those little hand checks.
Hardaway. And he took a bump, tripped up. Anthony Hardaway fouled by
Foul number 33,
That's the first on Pippen.
Anthony Hardaway in a slashing move finds just enough of a seam. He doesn't need much with that slim body as he tried to knife between Bill Wennington and Pippen, and just able to draw the foul.
Anthony Hardaway trying to pick up his game, very quiet in the series against the Celtics. Had some problems at the end of the year. That's Hardaway with the reverse. You'll recall that Hardaway missed 4 games because of dehydration and an inflammation of the esophagus. Lost 10 to 12 pounds in the process of what is already a slender frame. Weddington with the room. Bill Wennington, who has a good touch, cuts it to a 2-point Orlando lead. 28-26 with 7.5 remaining in this first half. Marv Albert with Matt Lucas, Jim Gray for Ahmad Rashad from the arena in Orlando. Royal, nice goal to the bucket by Royal. The Magic up by 4. Talking about the season series, Chicago winning that first meeting, but Orlando won the next 3. Close games by 3 points, by 2, by 7. They spoiled the home opener as Kukoc was able to hit. And the Bulls are down by 2. Jordan played in only 1 of the games during the regular season against Orlando. His first home game, only 7 of 23 from the field. It's Scott not able to hit. And Orlando spoiled the home return of Michael Jordan. Crowd wanted to travel. Pippen thought he was pushed. There's Pippen, the trailer. Never really had control of the ball. Off the handoff from Myers. And a slow start. Scottie Pippen has not scored in his 15 minutes.
Well, Brian Shaw and Penny Hardaway all season long have been wired for this type of play. A little ball fake, a little eye contact, and the back door. And Shaquille O'Neal making a hard move into the lane, and the no-looker to Donald Royal breaking in on the right side.
Welcome back to the arena. Penny Hardaway, during this last time out, jammed his big toe while playing. He's down on the bench being attended to by Lenny Courier. They tried to massage it out. It's hurting him quite a bit right now. He should return a bit later in the game, but they're going to hold him out for the time being. Marv?
All right, Jim. Apparently it happened on that play that you saw, so Orlando trying to let Courier is checking it out. Michael Jordan has returned. 6.5 remaining in this first half. Orlando with a 2-point lead on Chicago. Here is Jordan to the fadeaway. And it's rebounded by Shaquille O'Neal. And Michael is now 2 of 11. Scottie Pippen is 0 for 3. So the Bulls have to feel pretty good, despite the fact that their two big guns have not shot the ball well. They're down by only 2 points. Here's Shaquille O'Neal. Oh, again, he powered his way. 12 points for O'Neal, along with 7 rebounds.
Shaq coming out revitalized after that timeout. A fierce rebound at the defensive end, and then a powerful move in on Bill Wennington.
Illegal defense for the 3rd time.
Illegal defense against
Orlando.
A technical foul.
Oh, Shaq now a little pop in his step, holds Wennington off, and makes the strong move before Scottie Pippen can get in there. Those are the kinds of plays where Phil Jackson wants the big people to make sure they tie up Shaquille O'Neal and make him earn it from the line.
Steve Kerr will shoot the technical. And Matt, Shaquille's game is completely changed when he's hitting his free throws. Not that you can depend on this to continue, particularly in the 4th quarter, but the Magic's game has been very tentative. We saw that in the series against the Boston Celtics because there seemed to be a reluctance to go to Shaquille down the stretch. You don't want him at the foul line.
Well, and also when he gets the ball, he's going to get double teamed, but they get good shot opportunities when he passes the ball out of the double.
That's a 3 for Dennis Scott. Well, Scott began 1 for 6, knocks down a 3, and Orlando with its biggest lead of the game, leading to a Chicago 22nd timeout. The Magic up 35-29.
Well, Dennis has been off so far in this ballgame, but never discouraged. He's one of those players that always thinks the next shot is going to go. Perfect rotation on that ball, and Dennis will not just settle for the 3 now. He's also looking to improve his position on the dribble, but this is what really spreads the defense for Orlando.
Chicago Bulls having their shooting difficulties in this first half. They're 10 of 32 for 31%, and only 3 of 10 here in the 2nd quarter.
Normally when Chicago, after free throws, after 20-second timeouts, after timeouts, generally run something for Michael Jordan.
Pippen for Longley, and a foul call. Scottie Pippen setting up Luke Longley. Phil Jackson continues to shuffle at the center position. Foul was called on Brian Shaw.
That time coming out of the timeout, trying to get Scottie Pippen somehow involved in the offense. Scottie just 0 for 3, no points. So to talk about how important Tony Kukoc is to the success of this Chicago Bulls team, it's almost a given that Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen have to be very productive. And so far in this first half, they have not been.
And for Luke Longley, that is only his first point. So Longley started the game, then we saw Purdue, then Wennington, back to Longley. Matt, the only centers in the city of Chicago not used by Phil Jackson, I think, are Johnny Redfur and Jeremy Roenick of the Chicago Blackhawks.
I thought you were going to say Stan Mikita. No, too old.
What a good pickup on your part. 35-31, the Magic with the lead with just under 5 minutes to go in this first half. Shaquille showing the entire arsenal.
And it just might be the fact that he has made his free throws. You can see the look in Shaq's eye and his body language right now, playing with a great deal of confidence.
up front now with Pippen and Longley. Jordan and Kerr at the guards. Kukoc with a beautiful move. And then Kukoc able to recover. Here's Kerr for three. Yes. Steve Kerr with his first field goal. And it cuts it to a 3-point Orlando lead.
Those are the kind of plays that, oh boy, Brian Shaw, I thought was over and back on that play on the good defense by Pippen, but Kukoc makes those little plays, those basketball things that help your team keep going.
Anderson off the lead pass, so Nick Anderson has 9 points. The Magic 39. And the Bulls 34. Here is Kerr feeling it. The last time Chicago played here, Steve Kerr, who knows this court very well, hit 8 of 9 from the field. O'Neal. A very strong first half for Shaquille O'Neal. He has 16, and the Magic up 41-36. Orlando's hit its last 5 shots, 3.5 to go in the first half. Michael Jordan for Luke Longley, very close to a travel. They have gotten away with it.
This is what I mean when the offense slows down, the ball stays in one person's hands.
Scottie Pippen way off in this first half. He's now 0 for 4. Shaw with the step. Oh, put home by O'Neal. Shaquille has taken over. He has killed the Bulls in this first half. And Phil Jackson wants a timeout with 2:58 to go in the half.
Well, Michael Jordan and Shaquille O'Neal have both been quick to say that they will not be guarding each other in this series. However, they will meet from time to time right around the rim, as they do here. And Shaquille O'Neal throws one down over the head of Michael Jordan. And Shaq said, hey, I just dunked on Michael Jordan.
He's probably thinking, well, let's see, what will that do to my demographics? 18 points, 8 rebounds for Shaquille O'Neal, 7-point Magic lead. It's their biggest lead of the game. Here is Longley. Kukoc on the rebound. Longley played by Grant, and Longley able to take advantage of the several inches he has on Horace Grant. 43-38. It's Orlando with a 5-point lead.
A conservative move here by Brian Hill, taking Shaquille O'Neal out. He does have 2 personal fouls, but a very small team on the floor for Orlando.
Yes, Grant, Royal, Anderson, Hardaway, and Scott now on the floor. Hardaway. And rebounded by Kukoc. Lost it and recovered by Longley. Knocked aside and out of bounds by Horace Grant. Let's check in with Jim Gray, who is near the Chicago bench. Jim?
All right, Marv, thank you very much. Scottie Pippen did not like the fact that Bill Jackson called timeout on that last exchange. In fact, Pippen came over and was screaming at Jackson. Jackson kind of regrouped himself, got back into the huddle, and then started screaming again at Pippen. So there was quite an exchange between the two. Seemed to patch it up as play continues. Marv?
And as you talk about Scottie Pippen, who has not been in the flow, he is able to hit his first field goal, a 3-pointer. 1 for 5 from the field for Pippen. And it cuts it to a 2-point Orlando lead. Longley broke it up. And Kerr racing. Oh, stops him from behind. And it's ruled a clean block by Penny Hardaway.
Well, transition defense, a problem for Orlando all season long. But we've seen Penny make a couple of hustle plays. And a terrific one here. And it looked like the Chicago Bulls had a clear one. Steve Kerr, not the most fleet of the Chicago Bulls, very rarely gets a layup opportunity. And didn't get one there.
Michael Jordan. He continues to struggle in this first half. He is 2 for 12. But despite that, the Bulls are only trailing by 2 points. Illegal defense called against the Bulls. That's the first violation for Chicago.
The next is a technical foul.
Michael Jordan coming off the pick from Luke Longley. A good look there, although that shot challenged by Donald Royal. And Michael, I don't know if he got hit on the play or once again tried to use that body language or use some body English to try to get that shot to fall.
Hardaway played by Pippen. Pippen got screened. Longley picks up Hardaway on a switch. Here's Scott. And Anderson for 3. Kukoc reaching for the rebound. Put pressure on the ball. They doubled up on Kukoc. And the Magic with another 24. Anderson posting up. All blocked from behind by Pippen. Scottie Pippen providing the help.
Looked like the Chicago Bulls have another fast break opportunity, but Tony Kukoc unable to release that ball. He knew he had open people down the other end, but terrific hustle by Donald Royal to shake it loose.
Brian Hill has just called for a 20-second timeout. 47 and 6/10 seconds remaining in this first half, and the Magic up 43-41. A reminder tonight at 8/7 Central, as the music indicates, for the first time on television, NBC will present the biggest movie ever made, Jurassic Park. That'll be tonight at the conclusion of our NBA playoff triple-header. No stuff will not be seen in Jurassic Park. That is the Orlando Magic mascot. Good friend of yours, I know, Stuff. The Magic.
I know he has other commitments.
Yes, I'm sure. What a day of NBA playoff basketball, beginning with the Knicks and Indiana, and an improbable conclusion, followed by the defending NBA champion Houston Rockets knocking off Utah for the second time in Salt Lake City. So Houston will advance to go up against the Phoenix Suns. Hardaway for Royal, and an offensive foul. It is a charge on Hardaway. And for Hardaway, I don't think that is a sincere applauding the call on the part of Penny, but that's his second foul, and Royal was shaken up on the play.
Penny not happy with the play. He felt he was under control that time, and he looked at referee Don Baden and said, "That's the second one you've called on me here." As Penny actually thought he was going straight up, and I thought a good defensive play by Scottie Pippen. He did step out far enough in front of the rim. You should be up at that dotted line, but the officials will not take kindly to this. This they would consider being shown up.
Michael Jordan is 2 for 12 in this first half. He has missed his last 4 shots. And you go back to Thursday night in the game against Charlotte, Jordan is 7 for his last 30. And we mentioned earlier that he's bothered by the bruised bone and a shooting hand. I don't know if that's the reason, because he really has not lit it up since the return. He's had maybe 3 or 4 really good shooting games, although he certainly made a major contribution. The Chicago Bulls winning 13 of the last 17 when Jordan returned. The ball back to Chicago. Dennis Scott could not handle it. And we're told by Jimmy Gray, who checked on Donald Royal, that he re-sprained the left ankle that he had sprained earlier this season, that sidelined him for a while. That is bad news for the Orlando Magic. Donald Royal, a very important player for this club. 10 seconds left in the half. The Magic up by 2. Good coach. Off the dribble for Jordan. And here is Jordan going to the drive. And he's tied the game at 43. Final seconds. Hardaway from center court. Oh, just off to the left side. So at the half of game 1 of this best of 7, the Orlando Magic and the Chicago Bulls are tied at 43. Shaquille O'Neal, 18 points, 8 rebounds. Michael Jordan, 3 for 13 from the field. 8 points. He was able to hit his third bucket right here.
Shaquille O'Neal taken out of the game again to be protected for fouls in the closing seconds of the second quarter, and Michael Jordan takes advantage of it as Penny Hardaway had this thing measured, all lined up. He thought he had it down.
Coming up in a moment, Bob Costas with the Prudential halftime report.
Bob Costas back in New York, only long enough to tell you it's halftime in Orlando. Bulls and Magic tied at 43. Now, coming up for most of you, except on the West Coast, an extended break for your local news. And then we'll bring you highlights of that amazing Indiana win over New York, plus Utah's defeat at the hands of the Rockets. First, these messages from your local station.
This is the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the Prudential. Peace of mind. It comes with every piece of the rock.
All right, Bob Costas with Julius Erving, Peter Bessie, and Bill Walton in for a cameo appearance. In our next segment, we'll bring you highlights of the Jazz and Rockets. Right now, though, we want to expand a little bit on the Knicks and Pacers. What a game. If you didn't see it, the Pacers won it in a stunning finish, 107-105. They trailed by 6 with 18 seconds to play as they inbounded, knowing they needed to ring up a couple of threes to get back into it. So naturally, they immediately go to Reggie Miller. He cashes in here. They are within 3. Now watch Anthony Mason trying to inbound, and Greg Anthony's the target. When Anthony slips down, Mason is afraid that 5 seconds is going to be called. He tosses it in, and Miller picks it off, retreats behind the line, and hits another 3 to tie the game. Now watch. Miller may have pushed Anthony down. He holds up his hands to indicate, please don't call a foul on me, and he got his way and then made the steal with Anthony on the floor and tied the game. Then, after John Starks was fouled by Sam Mitchell, Starks goes to the line, misses the first, as you see, and also misses the second. What are the odds of that? Still, the Knicks have another chance. Patrick Ewing, a dead-on shot, but he misses it. And then when Miller gets the rebound, he's fouled by Anthony Mason. Pat Riley can scarcely believe what he's seeing. Miller hits the first. He'll also hit the second. But the Knicks still have a chance. They don't have any timeouts left, so they have to rush it up the floor. And Greg Anthony is going to slip down, and by the time he can get the ball to Patrick Ewing, the clock has expired. You'd have to say through all the years, this is the most difficult loss in a game of consequence that a Pat Riley team has ever had to absorb. Here's some post-game reaction, beginning with the hero. There's Greg Anthony. He can't believe it. And here's the hero, Reggie Miller.
Last year, I'm not going to lie, coming in here for the Eastern Conference Final, we didn't think we could win. John Starks choked. We came up big. We feel we can sweep this team. This is for you, Indiana. We're coming back. Yeah.
Reggie reminds me of a little kid I grew up with that only talks when things are going well and only has something to say when you know, his friends are around. So that's how I treat it.
He can't call the Knicks, he can call me a choke artist, and I choked. Simple as that. And you know, but I had to bounce back game 2 and you know, and help this team win.
Who would believe that it actually happened the way that we planned? And just a big time win, and it says a lot about this basketball team once again. And number 31, he's something special, and that's the reason why his picture's on the side of the building in Indiana.
I mean, this is a tough one to absorb, but we're going to have to absorb it. There's, you know, we have nobody to blame but ourselves, and you know, we're totally disgusted by how we finished that game, and you know, if we've ever played a big game in our life, it's going to be Tuesday night.
Well, Reggie Miller has played a few big games in his life, and the 2 biggest in terms of really establishing him outside Indiana in the national imagination have come at Madison Square Garden. Game 5 last year when he drilled all the threes and got into it with Spike Lee, and then today.
Magnificent performance, of course, by Reggie Miller, and that's what superstars are all about, coming through when it's all on the line. The ball was there. I still can't believe that Mason just threw the ball right to him, though.
Well, don't you think it's possible that Mason was afraid that there was going to be a 5-second call? He kind of lurched forward when Anthony fell, and he thought, I better get this in before they call 5.
But you have to run the baseline there. You have to keep in balance, and you practice killing the clock your whole life. That's what you start doing in 6th grade when you're playing basketball at that level.
The other thing, Bill, if you're going to throw the ball in, just throw it to the other end of the court. But Larry Brown certainly has to thank his lucky stars. I mean, you know, this was a game that they had control of for so long, and then when they lost control of it, the Knicks just stepped up, seemed like they were going to win, and Reggie came through with the, you know, Miller chime stuff. But I think the Pacers have to, you know, dedicate this game to Rick Smits, and after the fine effort that he put forth today, you know, he was sitting over on the sideline having fouled out, and those guys just said, let's win it for Rick.
You know, really overlooked in all this, Patrick Ewing gets in early foul trouble. Rick Smits, who generally does pretty well against the Knicks anyway, got 34 points and 7 rebounds, while Ewing, who was able to play only 30 minutes, had 11 points and 9 rebounds, shot 4 for 14, but no one's going to remember anything come tomorrow except what Reggie did.
No, well, I think they're going to also remember that the Knicks took Dumb and Dumber to the ultimate. I mean, not only does Mason make the mistake on the baseline, then he commits the foul on Reggie with 7.5 seconds to go, and also Greg Anthony. Where was he going with the ball in those last few seconds? Even if he hadn't stumbled, what was he going to do with it? Bad play.
What are the coaches telling their players, though, to call timeout when they're falling out of bounds? That's a big mistake. That whole trend, which goes down to the high school and biddy ball levels, that has to change.
He sounds like Doug Collins.
Right, you should have gotten on that bandwagon about six years ago when they started to do it. It's a little late now. They've been doing it for about 4 seasons in the NBA.
Well, the Knicks could have used Derek Harper in that situation, and that's why the senior veteran guard is the guy who they need to have into the game. And I said earlier today that, you know, when cooler heads are needed, he's the one who's usually there and needs to be on your team. And he wasn't around because he got tossed.
You know, Bob, Mark Jackson told me about a month ago, he said this is the first year he's played with Reggie Miller. He said that the one flaw that Reggie has is that he's too unselfish. But he said once the playoffs come around, look for Reggie to step it up. Everyone was worried that Reggie was in a slump coming into the playoffs. He averaged 11 threes in the Atlanta series when he averaged 3 during the year. I mean, this guy really stepped it up.
Couple of other quick items here. Although he denied it in a post-game press conference, according to a wire service report, we haven't been able to check this out fully. Maybe we'll know by tomorrow or something, but Reggie Miller was yelling choke artists in the direction of the Knick locker room as he walked through the tunnel. Also forgotten in all of this, 9 technical fouls in this game, 5 on the Knicks, 4 on the Pacers.
Why would we not believe that Reggie Miller would do that when he did it in last year's? That's what we did the piece on with Derek Harper. He had his hands around his neck when the Knicks would choke him.
And now he's going to back off. The guy's the ultimate trash talker in the league today.
Well, here we go. A heartbreaker for the Knicks, obviously. Let's switch gears and talk about heartbreak in Seattle. The Sonics know all about it after being eliminated in the first round 2 consecutive years now. Denver shocked them last year, and the Lakers did the damage this time. Here are the comments of George Karl following Game 4 against the Lakers.
There's not much to say right now. There's no need to really talk. I think it's just a time to face our embarrassment and be humbled and feel the humility of sport and go on and hopefully try to figure out some things. We're a better basketball team than we've played in the last 2 years in the playoffs. I think everybody in that room knows that, and it's my responsibility to stand up and say that. What do you think has stopped you from advancing then? Ourselves.
Well, a week or so ago, you were telling me as they were hanging by a thread against the Lakers that he expected to be fired if they didn't get out of the first round for a second consecutive year.
Actually, Bob, his wife said she expected them, George to get fired, and we still think he might get fired. He has 1 year left. He also has an option year that he would get paid for. But George, I don't know if he's naive or optimistic, but he wants to stay. He thinks the Sonics can still win, even though he has really no control. Management is controlling everything as far as trades go, and he's gotten into it with some players. He still wants to ride it out and atone for their sins for the last 2 years now.
But what happened there with Seattle, poor player personnel management. You got a situation here where the 2 acquisitions, Cartwright and Marciulionis, non-factors. The Kendall Gill, Nate McMillan situation, unresolved. That's a coaching problem there. And then the big 3, Payton, Schrempf, and Kemp, they just don't come through at the biggest moments, and that's what superstars do.
I thought Kemp had a great series, though. I mean, I don't know why Perkins and Detlef Schrempf were taking the threes at the end of that game, but I did find out that the play was supposed to be run for Gary Payton, and he allowed himself to be defended in those plays.
But superstars, which these guys are built up to be, they win the games. That's what Reggie Miller did today, and that never got to happen with Seattle. Gary Payton has the broken finger. That's an excuse there. But Kemp and Schrempf, they've got to come through huge in that situation the way Miller did, the way Bird did, the way Jordan does, the way Shaq and Penny need to.
You have a system in Seattle where you have 8 players and they all think they're equally talented. You know, you think the first guy is as good as the 8th guy. And this is a system, you know, that's been exploited in the playoffs where you aren't able to exploit it in the regular season, you know, because it's a one-shot deal. You're in and out. In the playoffs, you can scout them. You know, you can put in different wrinkles to try and, you know, take away from their effectiveness. If you got a 1 or 2 star system and you consistently go to those guys, they're going to be productive, and you know who your go-to guys are going to be down the stretch. It's not going to be a matter of thinking that all 8 can get the job done, or 5 of the 8 when they're on the floor.
We got about a half minute here. Another point, Pete?
I just want to talk about the Hornets. What are they going to do with Muggsy Bogues now that Alan Bristow gave up on him in the last few minutes of that last game against Chicago? They proved that he can't hit that shot, and they can't come back another season and have him exposed like that. They've got to make a switch at point guard.
All right, by way of review, before we head to this commercial, the Pacers came back and beat the Knicks 107-105, and Houston advances, and Utah, despite a 60-victory season, is out. They lose, the Jazz do, the 5th and deciding game at home, 95-91. More on the 2 early games when we come back in a moment.
You're watching the 1995 NBA playoffs on NBC. This is the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the Prudential. Peace of mind. It comes with every piece of the rock.
The Bulls are tied with the Magic at halftime at 43, despite the fact that Jordan is just 3 for 13, Pippen 1 for 5. Shaq, who hit all 6 of his free throws in the first half, has 18 points and 8 rebounds for the Magic. But it's questionable whether the Chicago-Orlando game can top the 2 early games in terms of drama. Both the Knicks and the Jazz had leads late in their games, only to see them evaporate. The Knicks collapsed, by far the more dramatic of the two. They led by 6 with less than 20 seconds to play as Indiana inbounded, looking for a miracle, and they got it. First, Reggie Miller will connect, and then he will steal the inbound. At this point, they're down by 3. Greg Anthony stumbles, actually shoved a little bit by Miller. No foul call. Miller has the presence of mind to retreat behind the line and hit another 3 to tie it. Then after a foul, sends John Starks to the line. Starks, who had 21 in the game, 12 in the first half, 9 in the second, missed both free throws, but still they had another shot as Patrick Ewing got a dead-on look, but he missed, and then Miller was fouled by Anthony Mason on the rebound. And unlike Starks, Miller went to the line and made them both. Now, amazingly, the Pacers were up 2. Knicks didn't have a timeout, had to go the length of the floor. Anthony falls down again. The clock runs out. Starks walks off in dejection. Miller follows him taunting, and afterwards, here's post-game reaction.
Last year, I'm not going to lie, coming in here for the Eastern Conference Final, we didn't think we could win. We feel we can sweep this team. This is for you, Indiana. We're coming back. Yeah.
You know, we played our asses off, played our hearts out to get a win, and simply gave it away at the end.
Meanwhile, in Utah, another terrific fourth quarter as the defending champions, the Rockets, pulled one out against the Jazz. Highlights from early on. Jeff Hornacek had a hot hand. The Stockton feed, and Hornacek hits the 3. Hornacek had 19 points in the ballgame all told. This is as time runs out in the first half. An almost impossible 3 guarded by 2, and he hits it. On to the third quarter, and Hornacek will dish to Karl Malone for the slam. Malone had 35. The Jazz led by as many as a dozen, but the Rockets came back. Clyde Drexler, who came up huge in the last 2 games, 5 3-pointers today, one of them there. He had 31. Akeem Olajuwon had 33, and he finishes off a late 10-point run by the Rockets. Houston by 3 after this bucket with a minute and a half left. They go on to win 95-91, and Phoenix is next for them.
Even though we were down 7 with a few minutes to go, guys never quit. We kind of got together and said, hey, if we pull this thing together, we can do it. And we just kept encouraging each other, and it worked out pretty well.
Our guys believed in ourselves, and the guys believed that we couldn't lose. You know, we hadn't lost a series in a year and a half, so there's no reason to start now.
It's difficult to lose. Nobody likes to lose. But I would have felt a lot worse if we'd have lost and didn't put in the effort. I didn't have a guy that I don't think walked out on the floor. They didn't bust his butt from the time he was on there until he walked off. We got beat by a team that just hung in there and beat us.
Not going to the gym tomorrow to practice is kind of strange. It's hard to swallow right now.
Sadly for the Jazz, they become just the second team in NBA history to win 60 or more during the regular season and be bounced in the first round of the playoffs. Last year it happened to Seattle when they were upset by Denver. Now here's what our busy schedule looks like. Next weekend, doubleheader on Saturday, showtime at 12:30 Eastern. Phoenix will be in Houston for Game 3 of that series, followed by Game 4 of the Knicks and Pacers from Market Square. On Sunday, another triple header. Showtime again at 12:30 with Phoenix back at the Summit for Game 4 with the Rockets. Then it's the Spurs and Lakers in Game 4 of that series from the Forum. And finally, Game 4 of the Orlando-Chicago series from the United Center. One last reminder, Game 2 of the Spurs and Lakers can be seen tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on TNT. Right now, the Bulls and the Magic are all tied up at 43, and we'll send it back to Marv and Matt for the second half after these messages.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by the Prudential. Peace of mind. It comes with every piece of the rock.
Back in Orlando, Marv Albert, Matt Dukas, and Jim Gray. The Bulls and the Magic are tied at 43 as we head to the second half. 7-0 run by Chicago to tie the game in the final minutes of the first half. A look now at the Miller Lite halftime statistics. Neither club shot well in the first half. Bulls 35% of the Magic, 16 of 36, 44% shooting.
Michael Jordan unable to get on track, at least from the perimeter. 3 for 13, and seeming to have some problem with that right hand, as many of the shots not good leaving his hand, but terrific free throw shooting by both teams. And Shaquille O'Neal, 6 for 6 from the line. Unbelievable.
All right, for more on the injury picture, let's check in with Jim Gray.
Okay, Marv, I spoke to Michael Jordan. He said his right hand is bothering him quite a bit. He said he's just going to try and shoot through it and play through it in the second half. As for the Magic, Donald Royal's sprained left ankle was retaped. He will be back here in the second half. Penny Hardaway with his big left toe jam told me he's feeling better. He'll be all right. And Shaquille O'Neal at the end of the half was not hurt. He was just tired. That's why he left the game. Marv?
All right, Jim, and Michael Jordan, as you saw, 3 of 13 of the first half. And Matt, 6 of the 13 shots were with the left hand. 2 of his field goals with the left hand. He has that bone bruise on the right hand. And he hit only 1 jump shot. The other 2 were off the drive. So the third quarter is underway. The game is tied at 43. Pippen with the save. Pippen, Kukoc, Longley up front. Jordan and Armstrong at the guard. Michael Jordan popping it wide of the mark again.
In the post, but right behind him was Shaquille O'Neal coming over to challenge that shot, and Michael had to put up another awkward-looking shot.
We were wondering why Shaquille O'Neal was lifted with 3 minutes to go in the half, and when he was out, although he did come back briefly, Chicago ran off the 7 straight points. That was last touch by Orlando, so Chicago in possession with 20 on the 24.
A good defensive play that time by Nick Anderson as the Bulls had numbers and a good fast break opportunity. Nick able to save it one time, flicking it out of bounds.
Longley. So Luke Longley facing up and hitting his second field goal. High point man of the game, Shaquille O'Neal with 18 on 6 of 9 from the field and 6 of 6 from the line. Nick Anderson with 9, Dennis Scott with 7. Anthony Hardaway, a quiet first half, 6 points. Horace Grant has not been able to get going offensively. Horace making only 2 shots, 0 of 2 from the field.
And that's his favorite spot on the floor for that spot-up jump shot. Shot it very well in Game 4 in Boston, 9 for 15, but in the other games, not so well.
Here's O'Neal, and he was fouled. Longley coming over and picks it up. Orlando has missed its last 6 shots from the field.
Well, Horace Grant, who's been struggling offensively, but will never relax defensively, active with the hands to pick off that ball. And this is where the Chicago Bulls want to make sure they put Shaq to the line. Foul him when he's ready to lay it in, or foul him when he's ready to dunk it. Jim Gray mentioned Shaq just a little bit tired at the end of the second quarter, but with 2:58, that was a rather conservative move to try to protect Shaq. He had 2 personal fouls that will wind up costing the Magic 7 points on that 7-0 run by the Chicago Bulls. And when the game, it's going to be in the low to mid-80s. That's a lot.
Well, Shaquille finally missed from the line. 7 of 7 from the line. So the playoff record of 17 for 17 is safe. Held by the combination of Bob Love and Gail Goodrich and Reggie Miller.
Only Mr. Stats would be ready for that number.
Rejected by Grant. The Bulls by 45 to 44. 2 minutes gone by in the third quarter, and again the foul call on Longley. That is number 4 on Luke Longley.
Well, Luke Longley on a nice cut, and Horace Grant continues to make outstanding defensive plays to start this semi-break. And Shaquille O'Neal getting excellent inside position. This is an area where the Magic have really improved that kind of slow transition play where Shaq runs hard, the middle of the floor, stops in the paint, and then they try to generally make a long pass. And if it's a good crisp one, the defense cannot get down there in time to double team.
Will Perdue checking back in for the foul play. Luke Longley. Shaquille O'Neal is 8 of 9 from the line. I would think the Orlando Magic shot doctor, Buzz Brayman, is very proud.
I'm sure he is. The Buzz has so many ups and downs with Shaq.
He does.
He can never relax.
2 minutes in, third quarter, game tied at 45. Jordan flipping it back to Pippen. And tipped by Perdue.
Well, Scottie Pippen right now just does not look like a confident offensive player. He's just out there playing, not with a lot of purpose.
O'Neal foul. And again, Shaquille to the line. Foul on Perdue.
A little bit of a flip shot by Scottie Pippen.
Foul number 32.
Without a lot of authority here. Will Perdue just trying to keep the ball alive, but Will Perdue is a good instinctive offensive rebounder. Perdue gets him, and Pippen gets him on the same play.
Shaquille up 10 at the line. Now, Shaquille shaken up as he took that shot. There is Buzz Braden to the right. And Pat Williams, general manager of the Orlando Magic, to the left.
Pat has gotten a new order of shirts in this year. Gone away from the flag.
Buzz giving up some shooting advice to a youngster now.
That's young Anthony Bowie, who incidentally has pretty good release on his shot.
Bulls lead 47-46. Armstrong for Pippen. Open shot for Purdue.
Well, that thing almost went in, but Will Purdue, not a confident shooter at all from 12 to 15 feet. As soon as he released it, he started to chase it down. However, if he had just stayed with his foul throw, he might have gotten it.
Orlando's gone 6 minutes without a field goal going back to the second quarter. They're 0 for their last 7. Pippen passed up on the 3. And it will be Orlando back in possession. Scottie Pippen, 1 of 6 for the game, only 3 points.
Well, despite the fact that the Bulls have the 1-point lead right now, the look in their eyes is not one of confidence. They're very unsure of themselves at the offensive end.
Horace Grant with his first field goal. Oh, it's Orlando by 1. Illegal defense against the Magic. So a technical foul awarded Chicago. That is the 4th illegal defense on the Magic.
Horace Grant has been wondering where his jump shot has been on a consistent basis. It was good all season long. He's a career well over 50% shooter. He has not been confident with it of late, but certainly felt good on that one. Shaquille O'Neal that time got caught underneath the basket as Will Purdue on that transition play stopped way up above the top of the key. And in that situation, Shaquille has to leave the basket and come all the way up above the free throw line. I think our league really has to take a good hard look at some of those illegal defensive guidelines in this offseason. It's just not natural basketball.
8.5 remaining in the third quarter. And the Magic up by 1. Donald Royal doing a nice job in fronting Scottie Pippen. Shot clock at 5. Offensive foul. Scottie Pippen called for his second.
Well, the Bulls do a decent enough job of spreading the floor on their triangle offense here. And there is a seam there. A little hack by Penny Hardaway. He got away with it. But a good job by Donald Royal stepping in to take that charge as Scottie Pippen continues to look very unsure of himself offensively.
And off the turnover, Bulls have a 3-on-2. Nice pass from Pippen. Beautiful setup on the no-look. And the Bulls now lead 49-48.
Not unsure of himself there, although Scottie Pippen is not attacking the rim. We've seen him when he is on top of his game, especially with his left hand. He has really improved in that area of taking the ball strong to the goal. He is pulling up time and time again, although that was a nice pass.
Armstrong had a diagnosis, but Hardaway with the steal. Grant is fouled. Yes, they count. Foul call on Pippen.
Scottie Pippen with the fast break situation, but again, looking for other players. Pulling up and does have Will Purdue as Shaquille O'Neal not keeping his eye on the ball and not really finding his man. And terrific speed by Hardaway inside to Grant. Pippen trying to stop the layup. Unable to do it against Horace Grant, but the Chicago Bulls defensively made some adjustments at halftime in the little continuity play that the Magic are running, starting one side of the floor, getting it up top and swinging it. They're starting to get in the passing lane, time it, and get some steals.
So the former Chicago Bull, Horace Grant, giving the Magic a 2-point lead. Horace, the guy who said he never felt comfortable playing for the Bulls. Obviously upset as Kukoc is able to knock down the three. Horace obviously upset about the contract situation, particularly with Tony Kukoc getting the big numbers and in coming to Chicago. Says he feels very secure here in Orlando, which is certainly understandable. A 5-year, $17 million pact, building a home here in Orlando. Also admits he and Michael Jordan never did see eye to eye. His ran again, and he's in the midst of a good run. Horace with 8 points, 7 of his 8 here in the third quarter. And the Magic leading 53-52. Kerr for three. Steve Kerr has hit the hot hand. He missed his first shot. He's hit his last 3, 2 from downtown, and Kerr has 9. The Bulls are up 55-53.
Well, Horace Grant may not have been comfortable with the Chicago Bulls, but they were very comfortable with him. I wish they had him back.
Shaquille O'Neal with the finisher. He has 23, and the game is tied at 55. Jordan being played by Anderson. Shot clock at 5. Michael not forcing it. Got a foul. A reach in is called as Kerr looked to make the move off the dribble and was hit by Hardaway, who has committed his third. Timeout called. You are watching the NBA on NBC.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by the new Ford Explorer. Far and away the best Ford Explorer ever. By the Prudential. Peace of mind. It comes with every piece of the rock. And by Budweiser, the king of beers. This Bud's for you.
Welcome back to the arena in Orlando, where the Magic during the regular season won 39 and lost 2. Best home record in the NBA. And then were beaten in the playoffs last Sunday here by the Boston Celtics. So trying to reclaim the home court mastery. And they're tied with the Bulls at 55 with just under 6 minutes to go in this third quarter. Steve Kerr came on a moment ago for B.J. Armstrong, hitting Will Perdue. Jim Gray over at the Chicago bench telling us it's Michael Jordan again off the market again. A beautiful tip by Will Perdue. The Bulls lead by 2. Perdue kind of flicking it toward the hoop. Jim telling us that B.J. Armstrong asked Phil Jackson, why did you take me out? Phil said, you're playing lethargic.
And B.J., although he did some scoring in the first half, did look lethargic. And for Scottie Pippen, I felt has been lethargic throughout this ballgame. But Phil Jackson telling me before the game he prefers to get Steve Kerr in there for big minutes.
And the foul is called, which stops the Chicago fast break. The foul on Horace Grant. B.J. 3 of 6 from the field for 8 points.
I mentioned earlier that Will Perdue is a good instinctive offensive rebounder. When the man guarding him leaves to go help, Will has a knack of sliding in there. The 2 tip-ins, he had nobody left. He just kind of slapped at them and got him to go down.
Pippen. And again, Scottie not only missing, but considerably off the mark. And he's 1 of 7. Out of Royal. Offensive foul, a charge on Royal.
And this is one of the reasons why when Scottie Pippen is not getting things done offensively, he is going to play big minutes because he does so many other things on the floor. His passing, his rebounding, and terrific defense in here as he steps in on Donald Royal.
Well, Michael Jordan telling us earlier that he feels his teammates have to elevate their game. Well, you take a look at the combination of Jordan and Pippen, 4 of 22 combined. So I guess the rest of the guys have elevated because the Bulls still lead by the count of 57-55.
And they're shooting 38% as a team. The reason they're in this ballgame is on the offensive board.
Michael Jordan hoping that jump shot gets him going. He is now 4 for 16. The Bulls lead by 4. And the Magic calling for time with 4:27 remaining in the third. The Orlando Magic fearful that last jump shot could get that man going. He is only 4 of 16 from the field, but he's given the Bulls a 55 lead with 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the third quarter. Anderson being played by Jordan. Hardaway. And Grant is fouled, hammered by Purdue. It's a hard foul. The crowd looking for a flagrant on Will Purdue.
Well, that's the kind of fouls that you're going to get in a playoff situation. We've talked so much about Shaquille O'Neal getting hacked time and time again when he's around the basket. Nobody wants to give anybody a layup or a dunk, but they're going to call this flagrant on Will Purdue, saying he really, well, it's not about making a play on the ball. He actually got a piece of the ball, piece of the head, and the shoulder, but it's just unnecessary contact ruled by the officials, the reason for the flagrant.
So Horace Grant with the 2 shots, and then Orlando will have possession. Horace Grant with a strong third quarter after the slow start offensively.
You mentioned that Brian Hill not particularly happy with the way that last jump shot went up and in for Michael Jordan. It was the best looking one he's had all evening. The 2 quick hard dribbles up in the air and the good release. But you get a feeling here, the crowd right now waiting for something to happen. This is normally when the Magic start to make a run. Do it with their defense, or Shaq will get going, or Dennis Scott will start hitting the threes.
Judd Bushler on the floor once again for Chicago. Anderson for 3. That's his second from downtown. 12 points. And Orlando's taking a 60-59 lead.
Or Nick Anderson will hit a 3 and get the crowd going.
Jordan looking for the jumper. Yes. Michael Jordan has hit 2 in a row, and the Bulls have a 1-point advantage. So Jordan now 5 for 17 with only 12 points. Here's the double up on Shaquille. And a nice play by Shaquille getting it to the cutting Horace Grant. Foul on Jordan, his first.
It's hard to understand why sometimes Michael Jordan, his shots just don't look good at all. Other times he gets into that rhythm, keeps his feet under him, a good release, and you can tell it in his body how he feels it. Here, Michael Jordan trying to prevent the layup by Horace Grant. Scottie Pippen has been coming down to double team Shaquille time and time again, and what he's doing is overrunning the play instead of just coming up big and not committing himself. But by overrunning, it's enabling Shaquille to make an easier pass, which is what he did there.
Horace Grant 5 of 6 at the line, a 69% free throw shooter during the regular season. Horace spent 7 years as a member of the Chicago Bulls on 3 Bulls NBA championship teams, signings of free agent with the Magic. Game is tied at 61. 3:25 to go in this third quarter. Purdue, Will Purdue, done a nice job. He's hit 4 out of 6. He has 8 points, full 63, and the Magic 61.
And now Will Purdue using his body to beat Shaq up high to stop him, and now trying to draw the foul, the charge, and able to do it. This is what Will Purdue does better than the other centers as far as defensively making initial position. Here, Will Purdue wide open. Horace Grant just a little bit late, not really worried about Will's offense, but he had to pay for it. But Will Purdue made that initial contact up around the elbow area, which made Shaquille slow up, and then getting the call from the officials with a little dive.
That's 3 on Shaquille O'Neal. Jordan. And a foul is called. It's against Orlando. Michael Jordan with a nice move to unleash the jump shot, but could not hit. Foul on Dennis Scott. That is his second. 13 foul. 13 foul on the Magic. Bulls are over the foul limit. Bushler, Pippen, and Purdue up front. Jordan and Kerr in the backcourt for Chicago. Under 3 minutes to go in the third. Jordan did not have the shot, trying to get it out. Hardaway with the steal. Hardaway fouled by Kerr.
Foul number 25, Steve Kerr.
Michael Jordan normally does not get himself in those awkward positions where he jumps in the air because the defense is usually looking at him. The fast break doesn't happen, but he threw this one out to start that fast break opportunity. The quick hard spin by Michael Jordan getting in the air as he's challenged by Shaquille O'Neal, but with the defense all focusing on Michael, That's why a lot of times when he takes those as many shots as he does and does not shoot a good percentage, the other team doesn't run. But that pass actually started the fast break for Penny Hardaway.
Obviously, Michael Jordan still in the process of working his way back, not in the rhythm with the rest of the ball club, and to compound matters, is bothered by the bruised hand. So we have seen him go to the left hand frequently here today.
And starting to look a little bit fatigued. He played 21 minutes in the first half and has gone all the way here in the third, almost 10 minutes.
Bulls by 1. 2:20 remaining. Third quarter. Pippen setting up with a crossover and then fires. The save by Jordan and a new 24 for the Bulls, but Hardaway tipped it off. Hardaway going the distance, rejected by Pippen. Scott with the recovery. Anderson for 3. Nick Anderson on fire. He has 15. Orlando with a 65-63 lead on the Bulls. Call for time. So Nick Anderson, who grew up in Chicago, attended the University of Illinois, turning it on here in the third quarter, hitting another from downtown. Anderson is now 3 of 5 from three-point land.
Well, this is what the crowd has been waiting for. Nick will step up and beyond that three-point arc, always waiting for passes out of double-team situations. When you have Nick Anderson and Dennis Scott on the floor, three-point threats, it opens up things inside.
Minute 53 to go in the third quarter. Tonight at 8, 7 Central, for the first time on television, NBC presenting the biggest movie ever made, Jurassic Park. That's at the conclusion of our NBA playoff tripleheader, immediately following Orlando and Chicago, right here on NBC.
Well, the Chicago Bulls had a 4-point lead, mainly because they have been doing a job on the offensive board, primarily Will Perdue, despite the fact not shooting the ball very well, around 38%. But now in a couple of three-point shots by Nick Anderson, the Magic have recaptured the lead. And what the Bulls have done is, with some errant, careless passes, have started a couple of fast break chances for Orlando. They not necessarily getting the fast break, but either getting the foul or getting another play. That was an outstanding defensive play by Scottie Pippen, getting back to block that attempted layup.
And we've been close right throughout. Orlando is led by as many as 7. Chicago at 1 point led by 4. We've had 10 lead changes in this third quarter.
Here's one of those passes starting that fast break. Penny Hardaway coming down on Steve Kerr. This time I don't think he saw Scottie Pippen, or else he would have used his other hand to possibly get the foul and the layup. He knew he had Steve Kerr, but hustle on the part of Scottie Pippen stopped that layup.
And this capacity crowd of 16,000 at the Orlando Arena, urging the home team on, a team that won 39 of 41 during the regular season in Orlando, the second best record all time at home. The Boston Celtics of the 85-86 season went 40-1. Steve Kerr, who used to play on this court here in Orlando, has had the hot hand. 4 of 5 from the field, 11 points, and he has tied the game at 65 with a minute and a half to go in the third. Now Bill Wennington is guarding Shaquille O'Neal. Dennis Scott. 9 points for Scott, and it's the Magic by 2. Matchup remains Nick Anderson defending against Michael Jordan. Judd Bushler. Jordan. Now Grant over to help. And Grant with the steal. Here's Grant going all the way. Not able to put it down. Hardaway with the recovery. Scott for 3. Roderick Gosling going for that loose ball, and a foul called on Orlando. It's on Anderson.
Well, you can't play pick-and-roll defense any better than this. Horace Grant stringing this out, not letting Michael Jordan turn the corner, not letting him get into the lane, and then adding insult to injury, stealing the ball. Only thing worse could have been for Michael Jordan had Horace Grant made that layup.
You know Horace enjoyed the moment.
He'll send him a note.
Jordan with his 6th turnover. Magic with a 2-point lead. Half-minute left in the third quarter. Shot clock at 5. Grant doing a good job defensively here on Kukoc, who went to the fadeaway. Shaw with the rebound. Down to 20 seconds, and the Magic trying to hold for a final shot in this third quarter. Ryan Shaw setting it up. 10 seconds for the quarter. Orlando with a 2-point lead. Down to 5. Down to 3. Scott. Yeah. 4-point Magic lead. Bushler got it off in time, and it was deflected short. And they are on their feet, providing a standing ovation here in Orlando. We'll be back after a word from your local station. Welcome back to Orlando, Florida. Marv Albert with Matt Dugas and Jim Gray as we head to the fourth quarter. The Magic with a 69-65 lead on the Chicago Bulls. The Orlando Magic with big problems, though, during the course of the regular season in fourth quarters, and had their difficulties in 2 games against the Celtics in the fourth quarter. And a foul is called.
The foul number 34, Bill Wennington.
Wennington picked up the foul. Check this out. Against the Boston Celtics, game 2, they shot 4-23, 17% in the fourth quarter. Game 3, 4 of 18 from the field for 22%. One of the problems, the reluctance to go to Shaquille O'Neal, who has his difficulties at the line, although today he has been going at a torrid pace, 9 of 12 at the free throw line, but it just changes the entire game plan around for Brian Hill.
Well, there has to be a different mindset as well. Shaq getting his rest right now, but when he comes in, you have to go inside to him. He will get double teamed, he will get fouled when he makes the move to the basket, but there are other ways for Shaq to score, whether it be fourth quarter or any quarter, without touching the ball. He can get to the offensive board.
As this fourth quarter gets underway, Michael Jordan receiving a rest. Jordan 5 of 18 over the first 3 quarters. Only 12 points. Myers forcing.
Wow, that's just a terrible shot there as the Bulls never got into anything. And right now, Pippen and Kukoc have to get things together as Michael is getting his rest. We saw this last Sunday in Charlotte. When Michael went out, everything fell apart.
And Pippen is only 1 of 8 from the field. Anderson with a nice move. Yes, and it counts. Has taken over offensively for the Magic.
And I already see the different mindset and the confidence level that the Magic have to start this fourth quarter. You want, especially with Shaq out of the game, you want to attack the defense and attack the rim, and you want to get the other team in foul trouble, so you will be shooting free throws coming down the stretch. And it might be Shaq sometimes, but you're going to have to live with that.
18 for Anderson. 7 of 11 shooting for Nick Anderson. Biggest lead of the game for either club. The Magic up by 8. Wennington, Kukoc, and Pippen up front. Myers and Kerr at the guard. The Bulls needing offense for the man with the ball, Scottie Pippen. Kukoc for 3. Yes. Well, they'll take it from Tony Kukoc, too.
Well, they'll take it from anybody at that point as the Bulls look like they're starting to reel a little bit. Needed a hoop desperately.
15 for Kukoc, along with 8 rebounds and 5 assists. Anderson. Nick Anderson has been unstoppable. 20 points for Anderson. 75-68, Orlando.
And Ron Harper getting set to check in. Phil Jackson, a lot of confidence. Look at Bill Wennington. Time his jump very nicely to get yet another offensive rebound and finish for the Chicago Bulls.
The seldom utilized Ron Harper over at the scorer's table, and he will come on. Scott for 3. Rebound, Grant, and a foul. It won't count. Basket will not count, but Horace Grant will go to the line. Timeout is called with 9:43 left in the fourth. Michael Jordan receiving a rest. Only 5 of 18 for 12 points, and he's right there in a list of dubious distinction from the personal point of view of Michael Jordan in terms of worst shooting playoff games. He did come back from that 3 of 18 against the Knicks with a 54-point effort the next game a couple of years back.
I'm sure in the back of Michael's mind, somewhere throughout this series, he is going to have one of those huge games, and he's probably going to have to do it in this building if the Chicago Bulls are going to try to, and in fact, get the home court advantage back.
So the Magic up by 6. Shaquille O'Neal getting set to return, and Phil Jackson has put in. Ron Harper played only 1 minute in the series against Charlotte. Seldom used. Ron Harper is on the floor, being guarded by Anthony Hardaway. Nice pass. Kukoc rejected by Rollins, and the basketball count. It's a goaltend.
Actually, Phil Jackson was not pleased with the way Pete Myers was guarding Nick Anderson, and to double team him. The Magic got an offensive rebound. Nick a little bit tired, coming out for a rest. But Phil Jackson told me, as Tony Kukoc getting good position in there, the goaltend by Trey Rollins. Phil Jackson saying that he would like to see Ron Harper play Penny Hardaway. He's got his wish right now.
Right, he'll try to insert Shaquille O'Neal, but the substitution waved off. Rollins remaining on the floor. Wild shot by Shaw. Rollins with the rebound. And back comes Pippen. Pippen shot and lost it, but last touch. Let's see what the discussion is. Did Jake O'Donnell said yes, last touch by Pippen.
Well, you can take a tape of this game and see all the outstanding defensive plays that Horace Grant has made. Some of them conventional, some of them just hustle plays there, but he clearly took the ball out of bounds. Hey, Jake O'Donnell so close to it. I think he was looking, or at least Jack Neese was looking to give some help on the play. Larry Krystkowiak, the former Magic player, who in fact in game 4, the 4th regular season game, Michael Jordan's first against the Magic at the United Center, Larry Krystkowiak got 2 technicals and thrown out of that game, and it was a major factor in why the Magic won.
Larry Krystkowiak's been sidelined by a bruised knee, and yes, he was in a heated discussion with Jake O'Donnell, and the foul is called against Orlando. It's on Hardaway, his 4th.
Well, this is what Phil Jackson thought he might be able to get from Ron Harper defensively. A lot of people don't give much respect to Ron Harper's defense, but he can make plays like that, and he can steal the basketball from time to time.
8.5 remaining in the 4th quarter. And a hand-checking foul called on Brian Shaw. That's his 3rd. Things being called very closely here in the 4th quarter. The Magic up 76-72. Shaquille O'Neal is back on the floor. Michael Jordan continues to sit it out, buying some time. Hopper, Pippen, played by Scott. Pippen stripped and fouled. Scottie Pippen is 1 for 9, only 3 points, has 8 rebounds, 6 assists.
This is a tough cover for Dennis Scott, who just does not have the foot speed, the lateral movement to stay with Scottie Pippen in that situation, despite the fact that Dennis got in good defensive position there. Did the right thing as far as the Magic are concerned, shaded into the middle where he knows he's got some defensive help, but the quickness of Scottie Pippen able to get in the lane before the defense could come.
Under normal conditions, this would be a perfect situation for the Chicago Bulls. I say normal if Michael Jordan were himself. He's had an off game. We don't know the extent of the injury to that right hand. We mentioned that it is a bone bruise that has affected his shooting. We've seen him go to the left more frequently here today. But the Bulls only would love to be involved in a close game down the stretch with Orlando, with Jordan well rested and coming on.
He will be well rested when he finally gets back. Terrific defensive play by Dennis Scott that comes from behind to flick and steal.
Orlando by 2, 76-74. And they get another opportunity off the steal. Shot clock is down to 7. 13 of his 14 of the second half. 78-74, Orlando. Wennington with the room. Bill Wennington has connected on 4 out of 5 from the field. And Chicago down by 2.
Well, Jackson likes to have Wennington late because he can step outside and shoot that jump shot.
Scott had an open shot, took his eye off the ball, and lost it.
A lot of times Dennis has a problem in those deep corners because his shoes are about size 16, and oftentimes he put that back foot back and step out of bounds. That time, you're right, Marvin, took his eye off the play.
And a foul is called, putting Wennington at the line with 6:54 remaining. In this fourth quarter, Shaquille O'Neal was called for his 4th foul.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Honda, building quality automobiles in America for the past 12 years. By the U.S. Army, learn how to get an edge on life. Be all you can be. And by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft, making the world a very cool place.
Back in Orlando, 6:54 remaining in the fourth quarter. Coming up following the Bulls and the Magic, Jurassic Park, right here on NBC. Michael Jordan making his return. The Magic up by 2, 78-76. A moment ago, Shaquille O'Neal committed his 4th foul, putting Bill Wennington at the line for the first time. Let's check in with Jim Gray. Jim?
All right, Marv. Phil Jackson looked at Bill Wennington and said, hey, we need you to play some tough defense, but offensively, we're going to go to you. Try and pick up a quick 5th foul on Shaquille O'Neal, and we're going to go to you the next couple of times down the floor. Marv?
All right, Jim, you saw that stat in the 3-headed center combination of the Chicago Bulls. Statistically, has played Shaquille O'Neal to a standstill. Wennington has done a nice job. He now has 10 points, and the game is tied at 78. Hardaway with a low percentage pass that was picked off. And back comes Pippen. 3-on-2 developing. Now the Magic getting back. Kukoc, Wennington, and Pippen on the front line. Kerr and Jordan in the backcourt. Jordan going to work against Anderson. Shot clock at 5. Jordan did not have the shot. Shot clock at 2. Kukoc trying to find Pippen, but the shot clock expires.
Another one of those disorganized looking plays. But I think Michael Jordan was thinking, take Nick Anderson to the basket, pick up the 4th team foul. The Magic started this fourth quarter with the right idea. Nick Anderson attacking the rim, getting the Bulls in foul trouble. Now both teams have gotten away from that.
And both teams with 3 team fouls. Jordan with the steal. Did he save it? No. Stepped out. So Orlando will get it back.
Shot clock was winding down for the Chicago Bulls. Tony Kukoc in trouble. Scottie Pippen looking for a little bit of an opening. And Dennis Scott just tossing Scottie Pippen to the floor, or Scottie Pippen trying to convince the official that it was a foul. And foul shooting is going to play a very important part down the stretch of this ballgame. The Magic have had the best of it so far. 20 for 28 from the line. I'm way over there. Bulls, 14 for 16.
A discussion over at the scorer's table. I believe they're talking about the 24-second clock. That might have still been considered an Orlando possession with Jordan off the steal and then stepping out of bounds.
Michael was trying to tightrope that sideline as he made a couple of dribbles. The building so loud, couldn't hear exactly when that whistle was blown to stop it.
And they have adjusted the shot clock back to 11. They're ruling that it was not a Chicago possession, so it goes back to the previous Orlando 24-second sequence, and they adjusted the shot clock. With just under 6 minutes to go in the fourth, Hardaway is stopped and fouled. Well, Anthony Hardaway has had another quiet game. 3 of 8 from the field, only 7 points, fouled by Michael Jordan, who commits his second.
He's been frustrated all night, having some offensive fouls called on. This time blows right by one of the best defensive players in the business. Penny Hardaway had his problems throughout that Boston series, but came up with some gigantic plays to save a couple of games. His block in Game 3 on Dominique Wilkins basically saved the series for Orlando. But there you see the shooting percentages, the problems he is having with shooting and from the line.
He shot 76% from the line during the regular season. He's 1 for 4 here today. The score remains tied at 78. 5:45 to go. Fourth quarter. Kukoc, with nowhere to go, found Kerr. And it's a foul as Kerr was pushed by Hardaway.
Well, we have all kinds of unusual matchups at both ends of the floor. The last time down, it looked like Steve Kerr was guarding Horace Grant. Penny Hardaway continuing to having problems. Picks up a little push touch foul as Steve Kerr did a good acting job.
And that is number 5 on Hardaway. Jordan to the fadeaway. Yes. Michael Jordan's jump shot showing some signs in the second half. Although overall 6 of 19 for the field. 14 points. The Bulls lead 80-78. Hardaway got the step on Kerr. Went to the left hand. Penny Hardaway ties the game at 80. Hardaway has to be careful playing with the 5 fouls.
It's interesting that Brian Hill not making a move on him. Is going to stay with his young player.
Bulls have hit their last 4 shots. Kukoc. And Kukoc gets it back. Pippen. And the space closed by Scott. Weddington. Kukoc. Nick Anderson able to go to the boards. Stay with us immediately following the conclusion of our NBA tripleheader, Jurassic Park, right here on NBC. 4.5 remaining in the fourth quarter. The game is tied at 80. Here's Horace Grant. And the foul is called. That will put Shaquille O'Neal at the line.
The foul number
frustrating game for Anthony Hardaway, but this guy keeps coming at you. He's going to try to make up for the foul trouble he's in, the free throws that he's missed, the poor shooting, and keep attacking the basket. As this is how Shaquille O'Neal can get involved offensively in the fourth quarter without touching the ball initially in a post position, is to get himself off the ball, wait for the shot to get up, and then just climb the offensive glass. This is the problem you have when he gets hit before he can make the field goal.
Timeout, Chicago.
Against the Celtics in the opening round of the playoffs, first 3 quarters, Orlando shot just under 66%. Shaquille O'Neal at 58%. And in the fourth quarter, you see they continue to have their problems. Shaquille hit his first 7 free throws here today, and now he is 9 for 13 from the line. 4:24 to go. In this fourth quarter, the game is tied at 80. Back in Orlando, 4:24 remaining. In this fourth quarter, the Magic and the Bulls are tied at 80. Second free throw for Shaquille O'Neal. So he converts 1 of 2. He is 10 of 14 at the free throw line, which for Shaquille is being on fire at the foul line. And the Magic up by 1. DJ Armstrong is back on the floor, taken out earlier. Scottie Pippen for 3. And Shaquille O'Neal with the rebound. We mentioned earlier, B.J. Armstrong asked Coach Phil Jackson why it was taken out. Phil said, because you're playing in lethargic fashion. Let's see how he reacts down the stretch. He is guarding Anthony Hardaway. Shot clock is down to 5. Here's Hardaway for 3. And a foul is called. Jake O'Donnell with the call against the Bulls. It's on Pippen. And that is number 5 on Scottie Pippen.
Well, Penny Hardaway putting up this shot. It never looked good when it was going up or when he left his hand, but really getting a break here as Scottie Pippen trying to spin out of the play and avoid contact, but just brushing up against Hardaway right in front of referee Jake O'Donnell to give Penny Hardaway the 3 free throws that he wanted. He wants to make up for those last 2 that he missed.
Hardaway now 2 of 5 at the line. It has been a brutal day for Scottie Pippen. 1 for 10 from the field. Michael Jordan, 6 of 19. Yet, as we have been saying right throughout, it's been a close ball game. Orlando up by 4 with 3:40 to go in the fourth quarter. Jordan getting the 5th from Weddington. Wennington with the fake, and that is rejected by Grant, and a foul is called. That's number 3 for Horace Grant.
It's just so unusual to see the Bulls so tentative offensively, especially Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. During that last timeout, Jim Gray telling us again that Phil Jackson wants Bill Wennington to be aggressive offensively, which he was there. Horace Grant all over him, seemingly getting all ball, but a number of times Michael Jordan looks like he's had an opportunity to either shoot the ball or to drive, but he has passed it up.
Bill Wennington is an excellent free throw shooter, 81% for the season. And Wennington 3 of 3 here today. 3.5 to go in the fourth quarter. Orlando with an 84-82 lead. Marv Albert with Matt Dukas. Jim Gray from the Orlando Arena, game 1 of his best of 7. Nick Anderson. Dennis Scott. Shot clock at 7. Scott for 3. Now it's called a 2. Put on the line. Dennis Scott with 14. The Magic 86. The Bulls 82. Just under 3 minutes to go in the fourth. Hardaway deflected it out.
Oh, a huge shot by Dennis Scott as the Magic had nothing going, trying to shake a little bit to avoid or get around Tony Kukoc or get the shot up, and his left foot right on that three-point line.
Jordan. The tip by Wennington. I don't know, perhaps the new look of Bill Wennington contributing to the offensive prowess. 14 points for Wennington. And the Orlando lead is 2. Shot clock down to 6. Scott forced it. Pippen with a good box out. Here comes Jordan to the backpedaling Anderson. Jordan got stabbed, and Jordan has tied the game at 86.
And that's what you expect from Michael Jordan in this situation. A little bit of open court, has a seam, takes it hard to the basket. Both teams over the limit and the penalty.
Just under 2 minutes to go in the fourth. Hardaway looking to post up against Armstrong. Hardaway, yes. The Magic 88. The Bulls 86.
Phil Jackson did not like the matchup he had before with Steve Kerr guarding Hardaway. He can't be too happy with Armstrong watching him now.
Jordan held by Anderson.
Michael Jordan has not had many opportunities all game long like this, but this one opened wide as you could be, as able to beat Nick Anderson off the dribble, Horace Grant waving at him, and nobody in that back line of defense as Bill Wennington taking Shaquille away from the play.
Michael Jordan shot 80% in a 17-game return during the regular season. He's 2 of 3 here today.
And Phil Jackson is very much concerned about Hardaway. Has gone big now. Pete Myers in the ballgame. It'll either be Jordan, Pippen, or Myers watching Hardaway.
Oh, Jordan misses on both. Orlando with a 2-point lead, 1.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Michael Jordan missing the 2 free throws down the stretch. Hardaway with the ball fake, and Pippen rebounds. The Bulls want to run. Here's Pippen for Jordan. Yes, and it counts. The game is tied, and Jordan will go to the line. Foul committed by Grant, his 4th.
His 4th.
Fast break chance for Scottie Pippen on the middle. Gets it to the right man. Able to finish here as Horace Grant trying to prevent the three-point play, but just not fouling Jordan hard enough. At the other end of the floor, Hardaway felt he was fouling the play. Brian Hill trying to calm him down.
3-point play for Jordan. He now has 19. The Bulls lead by 1 with 1.11 minutes left in the fourth quarter. With the timeout, we'll take a break. Back after this from your local station. Welcome back to Orlando. The Bulls have taken an 89-88 lead as we come up on a minute remaining in this fourth quarter. And following the Magic and the Bulls, it will be Jurassic Park right here on NBC. Nick Anderson was trapped, and he called for time. Anderson in trouble, surrounded by Pippen and Jordan, and took the timeout with 58 seconds left in the fourth. Let's check in with Bob Costas back in New York. Bob?
All right, Marv, briefly, here's what's next weekend looks like on NBC. On Saturday, a doubleheader starting with showtime at 12:30 Eastern. Phoenix will be in Houston for Game 3 of that series, followed by Game 4 of the Knicks and Pacers from Market Square. On Sunday, a tripleheader, showtime again at 12:30 with Phoenix back at the Summit for Game 4 with the Rockets. Then it's the Spurs and Lakers in Game 4 of that series from the Forum. And finally, Game 4 of the Orlando-Chicago series from the United Center. That is next weekend. Now, to finish things up for today's tripleheader, let's go back to Marv and Matt.
Thank you, Bob. A look at the timeout rundown. Chicago with 3 plus a 20. Orlando down to 1 timeout remaining. The shot clock showing 12 seconds. Both teams are over the limit. Hardaway to the reverse. O'Neal with the rebound, and a foul is called. Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal.
The foul number 34, Bill Wennington.
And the foul was called on Bill Wennington.
Penny Hardaway trying to force the action on penetration there. As Michael Jordan making sure that Shaq does not lay that one up or dunk it, and then going over to Shaq to make sure he's all right.
And the words from Jordan were accepted by O'Neal, who is hitting his free throws. 11 for 15. And he has tied the game at 89. A.J. Armstrong returning. So it is Jordan and Armstrong at the guards. Wennington with Pippen and Kukoc up front. 48 and 9/10 seconds remaining in the fourth. Clutch free throw shooting by Shaquille O'Neal. And when is the last time that has been said? The Magic up by 1. Lead from Pippen. Kukoc connecting with Pippen, and the Bulls have a 1-point lead.
A pet play for the Chicago Bulls after free throws, but what a time to bring it out in a very difficult play to execute. But Kukoc and Pippen got it done.
Down at 25 seconds in the fourth, 10 on the shot clock. 1-point Chicago lead. Dangerous pass thrown by Scott. Low percentage intended for Hardaway, who was in a crowd. Picked off by the Bulls, and they immediately call for time. 18 seconds to go. We'll be back in a moment. Well, the Chicago Bulls turning it down the stretch. They've hit their last 4 shots, including this beautiful lead from Kukoc to Pippen.
Well, that just takes perfect timing and perfect execution. And with the game on the line, there's about 40 seconds to go. A very difficult play to call. A lot of courage on the part of Phil Jackson to make that call during the free throw.
And a costly pass thrown by Dennis Scott in a crowd that was picked off by the Bulls. And Jordan spinning his way against Anderson. Here comes Hardaway. The Magic by 1. 6 and 2/10 seconds to go. Michael Jordan having a very difficult time. He missed the 2 free throws earlier. He was just picked off, stripped, which led to the lead bucket. We'll be right back. Well, 6 and 2/10 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Another look as Nick Anderson did it from behind. Chasing Jordan, knocked it away, leading to this.
And Penny Hardaway finds Horace Grant flying in on the right side. I think Michael Jordan felt with the 18 seconds left in the fourth quarter that he was going to get fouled on the play. It looked like he had beaten Nick Anderson, but then the flick from behind, as we have seen some wild and crazy things happen in the final 18 seconds today, in particular in that game between New York and Indiana, the craziest 18 seconds I've ever seen.
And a timeout taken by Michael Jordan. Anthony Hardaway has not had one of his better games, but a beautiful combination on a 2-on-1 break there for the Magic to take the lead. Back on February 26th here in Orlando, Hardaway had a career high of 39 points and hit the game-winning shot with 0.7 of a second remaining as he was racing the clock and was able to hit. This also was a race, but still time left. So Hardaway with his 5th steal of the game. And the Magic up 92-91.
Michael Jordan is definitely going to want to get his hands on the ball. The Bulls can usually get him. Brian Hill has to make a decision. Double team Michael without the ball and give somebody else a chance to take the final shot.
Tony Kukoc will throw in. Jordan played by Royal. Jordan to Pippen. And a lovely Orlando ball. Michael had the shot, but decided to pass off. And that is something we've rarely seen. 1 and 5/10 seconds to go, and the foul is given by Armstrong. Well, that's one we haven't seen. He had the shot.
Well, we saw it a number of times in the third quarter when Michael would make a move, penetrate, get between the foul line and the dotted line, jump in the air, and then change his mind. I think initially Michael was thinking drive to the basket, but he was sealed off by 3 players, and Pippen started to move instead of stay, spotted up in that left corner, and the 2 great veterans miscommunicate on the play.
I think when the people look back at what has taken place today in the NBA, I know I can't recall 3 such improbable finishes, starting with the Knicks Indiana game. Houston comes from behind. The defending NBA champions defeat the Utah Jazz in Salt Lake City. And a stirring finish here in Orlando. The Magic now leading 94-91, 0.8 of a second remaining, and a timeout is taken by the Bulls. Also improbable, the shooting performances of Scottie Pippen, 2 of 11. Michael Jordan, only 8 for 22. We'll be back right after these words. And turnover a moment ago by Michael Jordan, his 8th of the game, which ties a career high. 0.8 of a second remaining.
This is where Tony Kukoc has made so many, not so many, about 4 or 5 3-point shots in this situation.
And it comes to Kukoc, broken up by Grant.